Okay, so this is my first pass projection of image set B, which is this sort of arched monolith that traverses the main road of the scene. We can see that I've got a projection at the starting frame of frame 0, and my strategy told me to apply a second projection at frame 50, by which time the texture, which is before the texture doubles in size, and therefore we lose resolution. So we can see this. Okay. One thing that I anticipated would be that I would encounter some texture doubling and some loss of resolution as we progress through the arch, because obviously if we've projected at frame 50, we can see that there's quite a radical increase in size through this zooming in process. So we're going to be seeing some loss of resolution on these images here. That's inevitable. Another thing that we can't really see because it's quite dark, but we will. I do expect to see some doubling in here, because obviously we've got textures that are progressing potentially from this facade onto this one, similarly this one, and we're also stretching the textures because obviously we've got quite a severe perspective distortion at this point. So I'm expecting to see some smearing artifacts in this area as well. So my proposal would be to do a patch projection round about here. This whole thing goes off shot by about 90. But I'm looking at doing a projection round about frame 70. I don't think that the textures would double in size between 70 and 90, so I think that any projection at this particular point is going to hold out resolution wise. So possibly there, but I'm going to need to overscan, so I'm going to need to bring the focal length down, and I'm going to need to do that until I hit the edge of the facade, so I can see the edge of the facade on both sides. So somewhere around about an overscan of around about 35 is going to give me that edge, and obviously that edge is within the range. And we can see this. We can see the reason why I'm going to need to do this. If we go back to the original, we can see that the patch there's a light change between frame 0 and frame 50. So we can see the patch projection, or should I say the layer projection at frame 50, we can see that overlapping onto the projection at frame 0, and we can see that there's a light change in that. So I am going to need to mask off the image projected from frame 50 at that particular point to deal with this light change on both sides. And I'm also going to need to deal with the same light change when we project from the inside of this again. So I'm going to want to be able to cut off at that natural breakpoint, that natural breakpoint in the image with a mask inside Photoshop. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking round about frame 35 and round about here, sort of frame 70-ish, which is giving me both sides. It means I'm going to be able to mask off at that particular point, and so our patch projection is just going to be in this area and in this area.